And the one thing that Calvin was going to talk about, Calvin is stuck in some meetings. Calvin Walsh was going to come here because I wasn't involved in the battle at the Board of Supervisors because I was literally in court at the same time. But the Board of Supervisors stared down Diane Feinstein, stared down the planning department and said, that's a nice plan you've got there. It's not going anywhere. You have to first approve and fund the study and adopt housing requirement for office building that says that as you expand the office demand, you have to have the transportation, the muni, funded to be there. As the workers go into these new buildings, there has to be transit for them, and there has to be housing for them. Like I said, the transit one went on, that litigation went on for like 8 or 9 years. It went up to the United States Supreme Court, which ultimately said, yeah, they're right. And so people had to pay all the transit fees back for about 10 years. Wow. But the Board of Supervisors stared down Diane Feinstein and said, you can't have the downtown plan at all unless there is jobs housing linkage program, which was the funding mechanism for housing. And it, like I said, it was the whole community. It wasn't just me. It was neighborhood associations, tenant organizers, some of the unions, and the environmental community just jamming the hell out of the Board of Supervisors. And so that was going on 82, 83, 84. When the downtown plan came back to the Planning Commission, when they were doing the re-referral from the Board of Supervisors, which hadn't passed the downtown plan, because Diane wanted to get for herself the issue of the growth limits, the growth controls. And so the downtown plan, the entire thing had been built on an assumption that the amount of office space that could be absorbed in the city, it was totally the economic projection of the downtown plan, was 950,000 square feet a year. That was the demand for offices, and that was the amount that they analyzed. They analyzed the demand for that much office space and the housing to deal with that and the transit to deal with that. It was all of a piece because they were being very spur type responsible. And so Diane, when it came back to her, had the Planning Commission adopt a 3-year time limit, a 3-year allocation of 200 and whatever 950 times 3 is. Yeah.
Just to give you some context, 950,000 square feet of office space, that's the equivalent of 2 Transamerica pyramids, right? Or the equivalent of the Lucas project in the Presidio that replaced Letterman Hospital. Right?
Yeah, sorry, you should just pop in. But Diane put this moderate measure into the downtown plan and said, we will have a 3-year limit. It will end at 3 years, but in the meantime, we're going to allow slightly under 3 million square feet of office space. And then they went to town and started approving the projects right away. And so, so all of this was going on in 84. People said, have enough of it. In 84, in November of 83, one PropM the first was on the ballot. It barely lost, but we cut the link to height totally.